Yo, Versatile Vigilante, Young Vince, Uncle Vinny, we're out here doing another episode today. I want to focus specifically on social media. Social media, super giant conversation, super big topic, something we use every single day. My purpose of this episode is just to show you my opinions on it, my feelings, and I want to go through, some fucking negatives and positives because I feel like it's seen as either the best thing to ever happen or the worst thing to happen. I think it's somewhere in between, man. So let me get right into it. So first things first, I feel like social media is an excellent tool. I think it's an excellent tool when used properly. Anyone seen Scarface, you know when that chainsaw was used, that's not the purpose of a fucking chainsaw. Like, that's not why a chainsaw should be used. I feel like social media is something where if we look at it as more what it is, like a tool to maybe advance certain things as opposed to be the reason that the whole thing exists, I think that might be a good thing, man. Like, it's a great networking tool. It's a phenomenal networking tool. You can look up a lot of different people. You can find people that are maybe in a field that interests you, and you can try to network with them and message them and see if, there's some advice to be had there, or some way of, furthering maybe your career or some other venture that you might have. It helps you, be aware of things that you might not have been aware of before. I know I've discovered a lot of cool shit on social media, met some cool people through social media, so it's an excellent tool. The thing about it, I think it doesn't personalize the experience very much. Like, everyone's just a profile on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, anything. It's a profile picture and then just shit that you put on that profile. I think sometimes we forget there's people behind that profile, like there's no, on LinkedIn you can have like this master profile. No one's that fucking perfect in real life, it's not like that. It's a bit of a facade, man. And we forget too, like we might just message mad people or do a bunch of things. Man, these people have lives. Like, we're not just living on the social media app. I know it feels that way sometimes because of how much we use it, but it's not really true. There's a whole other life, man. And I feel like things on social media, it's seen that things are a little too easy. Like, it's a little too smooth. I see a lot of these profiles that give advice, and the advice might be good advice, but I just think it's so simplistic. I look at these like stock market pages and they'll say save 10 grand a month and you'll be, and they'll just use these numbers, and I'm just like, man, what's your process behind this? Like, how did you get to this point? It's like, just do this and this will happen to you. And that, to me, it's fucking not the way it goes. Like, it makes us forget that there's a whole process to be had. Like, we're not living life on paper, bro. And these types of things on social media, I think, are bullshit because it shows you if you do this and this, it'll happen. It doesn't take into account the universe, first of all, because there's always a bumpy road when you don't expect it. So that doesn't take into personal responsibilities you might have. It just kind of puts everyone into like an all-in-one basket, and I hate that shit because we're all different. We all have different ways of doing something. I touched on this in my last episode. Like, something might take you longer than someone else or vice versa, and that doesn't matter at all because it's individual. Like, it's custom made. And LinkedIn, I feel like it makes too much of a fucking, if you do this, you'll win. And I think that's an attitude of being kind of like a follower, where it's like, oh, this person said this, I'm gonna do it. That's how my opinion's gonna be formed based on that. I don't like that shit, man. I feel like it's kind of like clickbait, it looks, it's something that's attractive. It might have a positive tone, but at the end of the day, it's, to me, kind of condescending. It's like, no, if you do this, I'm smart. You do this, you'll be good. And meanwhile, we don't know your fucking background. We don't know the stripes you've earned, so I think we just got to be careful who we give power to on social media, man, because these profiles, it's just a profile. Like, that person doesn't need to actually live what they're saying on social media. It's kind of like a character, I do it myself too, where it's like, no, on social media, it's for this type of thing. But the thing is, we got to make sure we're giving our attention to the right things, man. Like, we can't just go blindly and follow someone just because their aesthetic on social media is good, It's got to be substance to this. Like, we need to remember there's people behind these profiles. It's not, and no one's perfect. They don't have the master key, bro. So I want everyone to just try to remember that, like, fuck, we got to live our own lives. And again, I'm including myself because I forget that shit too. You be on social media, you think something looks so sweet. In real life, it's probably not that fucking sweet at all, and it's nowhere near that easy, you know? So that's one thing I wanted to say. It's a great tool potentially for these sorts of things, but also we gotta weigh them properly. It's not always fucking that simple and that crucial to follow each step by step, you know? There's some fun to be had to try your own way. So that's kind of what I want to say about that. And then the other thing about social media that I personally love, it gives us an unreal opportunity to try new things. Like there's so many things that I've seen myself where I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know this existed. Like there's even for my podcast, like if I wasn't able to post it on social media and, you know, try different things out, see what is kind of cool to do, see what maybe isn't that cool to do, I probably wouldn't do it as much just because it's a cool way to get yourself out there, meet some people that are kind of trying to do something similar to you. It's really cool for that type of shit. You build a little bit of a virtual business for yourself, and I fuck with that part of it. I've seen there's been some unreal talent to come out of just from the internet, bro. Like rest in peace, my guy Six Dogs. He just passed away a couple of weeks ago. This was a kid making music out of his fucking basement, man. Like he was 17 or some shit. If he didn't have social media to share that music, he wasn't signed. Like no one was gonna come find him and shit. It was fucking just really the internet that popped him off. So it was really fire to have that. And I've seen a lot of cool shit, and there's a lot of cool things going on. So just from independent people, you know? So that's the sickest part of social media. The thing we forget, we're on here voluntarily. Social media, we don't pay for it. Like it's not like, oh, it's included in a fee, and we don't pay for it financially. Like we don't buy it, they don't really owe us anything. We're on it voluntarily, and we give it our attention, we give it our time. Right? So I feel like we have to take responsibility for that too, where it's like social media, yeah, it's got that instant gratification. It's got that, oh, if you post something that gets a lot of views, it's fucking sick. And it is kind of cool because it's like, oh shit, something kind of hit here. But you also have to understand you're putting yourself in the game now. You're putting your face out there willingly. What comes with that is criticism. It comes with people fucking trying to fuck with you. It comes with bullshit that you didn't want to hear about at all. But that's part of the game, man. We could all deactivate this whole shit and social media wouldn't have much power. But we're not going to do that because we know it's a useful tool. It's at the end of the day, if used properly, it can help us. But we have to understand that risk reward, man. We can't just say, I'm going to put this content out, and I'm going to share a funny story about that. But we can't just say, I'm going to post this content out. Everyone's going to love it. They have to love it. And I don't want to hear anything negative. That's bullshit. We got to get thicker skin, man. You're putting yourself out there potentially in front of millions of fucking profiles and shit. Someone's going to talk shit to you. 100%. Whether they post it or they're just talking shit on their own. That's going to happen. And we have to remember, bro, that shit shouldn't be taken very seriously. Like, they don't know the fuck you are. You don't know anything about them. You just see their picture on their fucking profile. All they see is a piece of content you chose to put out. These are not something that should affect our confidence, bro. Like a social media hater, that shouldn't affect your confidence, bro. Odds are they're not doing anything worthwhile. If they're hating on what you're doing, fuck that shit. Like, that should tell you their opinion means nothing, you know? So I have a funny story. I just started a TikTok account, just posting little clips and shit, similar to like what I do on Instagram. And bro, this kid commented on it saying, man, stop wasting your life, go to college and get a degree. And I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, bro, your name was like a ridiculous username. And like, you look like a goofy, whatever. But I'm like, bro, you're going to judge this little clip, 10-second clip about my whole life. I'm like, bro, you don't even know anything about it. And it was just funny to me because it's like, bro, these guys can fucking come around. They're just little flies, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like part of me wanted to fucking get his IP address and see what's good, you know? But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, this guy, he's a clown at the end of the day. If you do that type of shit, you're a clown. So if you're doing cool shit and people fuck with it and say negative shit about it, fuck that, man. It's not relevant. Like, they're not in your world. You would never talk to them in real life anyway. So fuck that shit. And I'm not saying don't be open to criticism. Constructive criticism is different. But when someone's just trying to get under your skin on social media, bro, we can't let that fuck with us. We can't cry about that shit, man. It's stupid. It's bullshit. They don't know you. It's not personal. They're just trying to be fucking assholes, you know? So fuck that shit. And it's not like this is social media. It's not like our masterpiece, man. It's not like something where we're gonna fucking, this is gonna take us to where we need to go. It's just a tool. That's all it is. Social media is just a tool. We gotta give it a little less power, man. We can't let it be the downfall. That's what I'm saying. It's like, fuck that. Social media, you post a video on it. Let's say what it is. It's just like another fucking tool for us, man. We can't let that be the cause. We can't let people on social media, fucking trolls, get under our skin. That's giving it too much power, bro. That's what I'm saying. And I was watching my guy, This Is Big Avel. He did an interview with fucking Max B himself from jail. Go check that out. That's a huge interview. But Max was talking about putting out music, and he's like, man, I don't make love to them. I just put the music out, talking about his songs. And he's like, whatever happens, happens. Like, once it's out there, it's out there. And I fucking completely related to that because, bro, when you post something, it's gone. It's not yours anymore. Whatever, whoever sees it, sees it. Whoever wants to comment, comment. You can't control that, right? So you only put out what you want to put out at the end of the day and fucking keep it moving, because this social media shit, it's nowhere near as important. I see people on there with a lot of clout. I know them in real life. It's not like that, you know? So, bro, don't give it that much fucking power. I have to remind myself of that all the time too, because it is kind of weird to think about. It's one of those things where it's like, fuck, this is uncharted territory. Like, I have no idea how to use this properly. We're the first people to have this access to it. We're not using it properly, and that's not a bad thing because we're trying. It's a trial process right now with social media. No one knows what this is going to lead to. No one knows its importance of the future. I just feel like maybe we should chill out a little bit with it, you know? Fuck, that's pretty much all I want to say. It's like, you know, we don't know where it's going to go from here, but fuck, let's keep it moving. Versatile Vigilante shit. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Hope you like this episode. If not, it is what it is. You can hate on my comments. It's okay. Shout out to you guys, though. Fucking Versatile Vigilante shit, man.